Hi guys, and welcome to our weekly waffle, continuing with the story of Moses and new beginnings. So in many ways, as Luke said last week, Moses is the odd one out at most stages in his life. He was expected to act like an Egyptian, to speak like an Egyptian, to walk like an Egyptian. It's one of Luke's references. Even though he was an Israelite, even though he felt like a bit of an imposter in a strange place with people that were probably quite different to him. And we discover that actually he's really quite struggling to be amongst a community of people where he maybe doesn't fit in, but is expected to be like the rest of them. And for many people in our communities and in our country and in our world, they feel like that they have to fit in, that they can't be the people that they are on the inside, that they have to somehow fit in but feel like imposters amongst that community. And that can be really difficult, really hard. And the odd one out feeling doesn't just stop with Moses being an Israelite amongst a load of Egyptians, but also then, just to add insult to injury, God's like, I've got a mission for you, Moses. And unfortunately, it doesn't really fit or lean on Moses's strengths. Moses clearly doesn't like public speaking, he clearly doesn't like confrontation, and so God gives Moses the mission to go and free the whole nation of Israel from its leader, from Pharaoh. Go and take Pharaoh on, speak in front of everybody, and just go and free a nation for me. And Moses is like, this is not my bag, this is not my thing, these are not my strengths. Why are you asking this of me? Can't you just take my brother? He's loads better at public speaking than I am. And yet God's pretty determined that Moses is the right person for the task, that God has chosen Moses specifically for this mission, maybe not because of his vulnerabilities or what he perceives as his weaknesses or things he's not good at, but actually because Moses is someone from the margins, because Moses knows what it feels like to be an outsider, because he knows what it is not to fit in, that actually there's a strength and there's part of the mission in bringing that part of Moses to what God is asking him to do. The church hasn't always been good at celebrating and embracing difference, but it's God that's doing the inviting. God does the inviting with Moses, and God does the inviting with us today, calling us from the margins to step forward, to speak, to act, to help bring freedom to others in ways that only people on the margins can be able to do. And as one person once told me, one very wise person once told me, if it's good enough for God, then it better be good enough for everyone else. And so when God calls Moses, God's not having second thoughts. God knew exactly what they were doing when they called Moses, even if Moses didn't have a clue quite why God had chosen him. But maybe primarily because Moses was somebody who was the odd one out, who wasn't somebody that fitted into the rest of the crowd, who had a perspective that other people didn't have, that actually God wanted to choose Moses because of that, not in spite of that. So maybe you feel a bit like an outsider like Moses. God might just have a mission for you. Maybe you're more of an insider, maybe you're more of an Aaron. What can you do to help and to support and to lift up voices that God wants to be heard? How can we help bring some of God's new beginnings in our communities and in our world and in our church today?